So let's start with the Proenza Schouler news. So, as you guys probably know by now, I feel like this is the biggest news of, let's say, the past 24 hours, that Jack McCollough and Lazaro Hernandez of Proenza Schouler have finally officially taken over at Loewe. We kind of knew this was going to happen. This was almost as inevitable as J.W. Anderson leaving Loewe, as many other inevitable things that are going to happen and have happened. So it wasn't a matter of if it would happen, it was a matter of when. And now we've officially gotten, the confirmation. The Duke says I'll be cooking and listening. I like that. So yeah, I mean, we've kind of had our discussions already about Proenza Schouler and where it kind of sits. I do find it really interesting because when I think of Proenza Schouler, I think of like minimalism with an edge, minimalism with a level of pizzazz on the side. It's very along those lines of Phoebe Philo, Celine. I actually remember when Phoebe Philo left Celine and they were doing all those pages and articles on, these are the top 5 Phoebe Philo Celine alternatives. Proenza Schouler was always a brand that was always on those lists, alongside, the likes of the typical Peter Does and the Rocks and stuff like that. So it's kind of always been in that realm. And I find it really interesting because when you look at the aesthetic of Proenza Schouler, it's so different to current Loewe. Like when I think of current Loewe, I think of J.W. Anderson and what he's been doing. I think of art history. I think of surrealism. I think of a certain level of playfulness, but also at times really avant-garde designs, right? I think of, it's just really different. And I find the energy and the aesthetic of the guys at Proenza Schouler to be a bit more subdued, a bit more toned down, of course, way more minimal, a bit more wearable, but also more commercial. And I wonder how, going from a Janison Loewe to, Proenza Schouler type Loewe, how the customers are going to take to that. The typical Loewe customer, will that customer be open to more minimal classic designs from the likes of the guys at Proenza Schouler? Because like I said, I think that they're great designers. I just don't think they are as playful and as artful as J.W. Anderson. And if we're using past to determine what will happen in the present, I mean, when J.W. went to Loewe, we can think of the work that he did at his eponymous label. At his eponymous label, he was doing avant-garde things. He was making, shorts, but adding feminine elements to them and having commentaries on what exactly is menswear and doing all those collections that I really loved. That idea that J.W. Anderson used is actually something that he brought to his Moncler Genius collabs when he did them, which I found interesting and is like an interesting thing to note. So him going to Loewe, he kind of really just did more of the same with more resources. And so the Proenza Schouler guys would have to tap into something a bit different than what they're used to if they're going to sort of channel that J.W. Anderson playful energy. So I'll be watching very closely. I'm very curious to see exactly what direction they decide to go with the Loewe. Will they decide to go in their typical classic with a twist way, wearable way, or will they add a level of artfulness, avant-gardeness, and playfulness to the designs that we have come to be accustomed to, being used to the work of J.W. Anderson? Of course, they have had their own breakthroughs. Something that they are really famous for is the PS1 bag. The PS1 bag is very important to talk about because Loewe, being a brand that is known for their leather goods, and that's their heritage, accessories is really something that you have to put as a big level of importance when you think of the House of Loewe. It's something that they've seen a lot of success with. With J.W. Anderson, we saw the heels that he was doing. We saw the bags, especially the puzzle bag that was a major hit. So if they can channel something, like the PS1 bag where all the celebrities were wearing it, I believe it really broke through in 2008. For guys that don't know, Proenza Schouler is a brand that was founded in 2002 by Jack McCollough and Lazaro Hernandez. But anyway, they've had bags that have been really successful. And I think that's something that they're definitely proven with. They have the track record and they can definitely bring that to Loewe. They have a massive, massive range of bags when you go on their website. And what I love about their website, actually, you can actually order it by best sold, I think. You can sort by, best selling. So when you sort by best selling, you can see their large Rutsch tote is selling really well. Of course, the one, which is like their famous bag, their breakthrough bag. You can see, so these styles are some of the styles, not that they're going to completely copy it and bring it to, Loewe, but something that I've always appreciated from Proenza is this ability to add a certain level of European, Parisian chic to the urban and practicality of New York, right? The everyday wear of New York. And that's why this bag kind of is in the realm of the Balenciaga city bag, right? It's like supposed to be this sort of everyday wearing rugged bag. I definitely think that there's space to bring that to Loewe, to be honest. They don't have many bags that sort of fit that mold, and they can definitely bring that here. You can see one crossbody bag, the slide bag in suede. These are bags that are doing really well. And you have another different iteration of the PS1. They have other bags. I think they have things like the PS11 bag that was really big. Not as big as the PS1, but still quite big. Of course, like I said, their tote bag does really, really well for the brand. So there are some similarities there, but I did find, even from when the conversation was being had initially, talking about them taking over at Loewe, I did find it to be a very interesting fit because I don't think that they necessarily are close to W. Anderson's work. Not that they have to be, but it's just really different. And this is something that I critiqued when it came to the likes of Gucci. I think one of the reasons why Sabato De Sarno's Gucci wasn't taken too well was because it was a complete 180 from Alessandro Michele's aesthetic. And I don't know that brands can successfully, especially at the scale that these brands are operating at these days, I don't know if they can effectively do a 180 in aesthetic and it actually works long term. You kind of have to slowly work into, a different aesthetic over time. You can't just do a complete 180 because where do those customers go? Remember, the reason why they make so much money is because there are so many customers that have been buying Loewe. So if you alienate all those customers that went there for a specific thing, you're going to see a lot of trouble. So I'm just curious to see what exact direction they go in. But anyway, let's read the Women's Wear Daily article. Designers Jack McCollough and Lazaro Hernandez, better known as the duo behind New York label Proenza Schouler, are the new creative directors at Loewe, effective April 7th. So April is seemingly the month where we are seeing a lot of designers take the mantle at their new jobs. But reading on, they succeeded Jonathan Anderson, who officially stepped down last week after an acclaimed 11-year tenure that catapulted the Spanish house into fashion's big leagues. That development further clears the way for Anderson to eventually take up a creative role at Dior, as reported. Loewe and Dior are both owned by French luxury group LVMH. Confirming a widely expected move exclusively to Women's Wear Daily, Loewe said McCollough and Hernandez would carry the entire creative responsibility of all Loewe collections across women's wear, menswear, leather goods, and accessories. I mean, they are definitely seasoned enough for the role. I mean, that's definitely not in question. They've been in fashion forever. They have definitely earned their stripes in the industry, and I do love it when you see designers that, deserve to be there rather than celebrity designers and stuff like that. Designers that have honed their craft. They've worked at different brands. I know that Jack McCollough interned at Marc Jacobs, I believe. I know Lazaro Hernandez had worked at Michael Kors in the past. So they've done different roles. They've had a successful brand, and now they're working at a luxury house. It's only a good thing. People that actually know what they're doing at the roles. That's always, always wonderful to see. But what do you guys think? What are you guys expecting from the guys from Proenza Schouler at Loewe? Do you think that they are going to go with their minimal aesthetic, or do you think that they're going to find a happy place and a happy medium between what we've come to expect from a Anderson era Loewe and what they normally do? I'm curious to see what you guys think. I was scoping out for the PS1 on the real, so a few bags for women can fit a laptop, but Loewe bags I've been drooling over for years. Also, it is important to note it's a different price point, right? Loewe bags are way more expensive than Proenza Schouler bags, so they sit in completely different market segments, which is a totally different thing. I also want to look at their website and have a look at what they're selling overall and kind of what designs are doing really well for them, just out of pure curiosity. They have a bio. Let's read through the bio, see what they say. Proenza Schouler is a New York-based women's wear and accessories brand founded in 2002 by designers Jack McCollough and Lazaro Hernandez. The duo met while studying at Parsons School of Design, eventually collaborating on their senior thesis, which became their first collection as Proenza Schouler. Named after the designer's mother's maiden names, the collection was bought in its entirety by Barney's New York. RIP to Barney's. Barney's it's so crazy that anything, when you start looking at fashion history, whether it's the Antwerp Six and the fact that Barney's, bought a lot of the garments of the Antwerp Six initially, or Proenza Schouler, it's sad that they don't exist. It's going to be like one of those things where I'm going to be the old man when I'm 50 or 60 explaining to people the importance of Barney's New York. It's crazy. But reading on, Proenza Schouler makes luxury fashion for the intelligent, adult, urban woman of today. Collections are generally defined by the use of fine luxury materials, consistently infused with a marked sense of effortlessness and ease. Since its inception, Proenza Schouler has played an important role in reinvigorating American fashion. That's definitely true. Awarded with the inaugural CFDA Vogue Fashion Fund Award in 2004, the emerging brand was quickly established as a leading talent in the industry. Proenza Schouler has won 5 CFDA awards, including the 2003 Swarovski Award for ready-to-wear, the 2009 Accessory Designer of the Year Award, and the Women's Wear Designer of the Year Award in 2007, 2011, and 2013. That's crazy, by the way, like 5 awards. But then, to be fair, New York, outside of the likes of, Tom Brown and a few other brands, the competition is not stiff. It's not like competition in France, right? Or in Italy. Not to take away from their accomplishments, though. So, okay, now they're talking about the success of the PS1 bag that I mentioned earlier. Proenza Schouler launched its first handbag collection in 2008, including the PS1, a classic satchel that embodies a sense of wearable luxury that has become the brand's signature. In 2012, the brand launched their footwear collection, which completed their luxury accessories offering. Proenza Schouler has also collaborated with leading brands, including L'Oreal, Birkenstock, and Mercedes-Benz. In 2019, the brand's casual line, Proenza Schouler White Label, was launched, and this label derives much of its language from elements found throughout the history of the mainline, but rendered in a more casual and accessible way, which, I mean, is the way that most, white labels work, is just taking the mainline and making it more accessible by using fabrics that are less expensive to make or produce, and therefore it's more accessible for customers. And the pairing of Jack and Lazaro clearly demonstrates their success in both the accessories and ready-to-wear markets. Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. I wish I had money when Barney's was open. All of us, you and me alike, to be very honest with you. So that's the story with Proenza Schouler. I think that Proenza Schouler is a brand that, they're very classic, they're very consistent, they're very well known, they have a cult customer following. The thing about Proenza Schouler, though, is it's a brand that I've always viewed as good, and they make stuff that's well made. There's a lot of people that love their stuff. It's very classic. It fits in a wardrobe quite seamlessly. But the only issue is I'm not really excited. Like, when I think of Proenza Schouler, I don't get a sense of excitement, which is why I also feel like there isn't the level of excitement around this appointment that we have seen from other appointments, whether it's, Heider Ackerman at Tom Ford, or Matteo Blasi at, Chanel, and many other appointments. I think this is one of the appointments that we won't see as much excitement because their brand doesn't garner that level of excitement, to be honest. And I think that's to do with their designs. But I'm still curious to see what they do and kind of where they go from there. So, guys, that is the story around Proenza Schouler. That's the story around Proenza Schouler. This YouTube channel runs on your support. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to my Patreon. You'll gain access to exclusive content that includes everything from my Patreon podcast, where I give a behind-the-scenes insight into the fashion industry, as well as a fashion book club, where I review my favorite fashion books. You can also check out my fashion ebook, which highlights the best fashion journalists to follow, definitions of common fashion terminology, and how to determine what a good source of fashion information is. The links to everything are in the description below.